So, here's the thing about solid-state batteries. The industry's been talking about them for a decade like they're right around the corner. And every year, that corner gets a little further away. Toyota keeps pushing timelines. QuantumScape is still burning cash. And meanwhile, people just want an EV that doesn't lose 40% of its range in January. The fundamental problem with solid-state batteries is manufacturing. A solid electrolyte is brittle. It cracks under thermal expansion. And making it thin and uniform enough at scale is genuinely brutal. We're not dealing with a physics problem at this point. We're dealing with an engineering and economics problem. And nobody's solved it yet at any meaningful scale. CATL basically looked at this situation and said, what if we stop chasing perfection and instead built something that actually works right now? That's the Qilin Condensed Battery. And I think it's one of the more quietly impressive things to happen in the EV space in years. Now, before we get into the numbers, let's talk about what this electrolyte actually is, because the name condensed is, well, you've got to be honest, it's a little confusing. A standard lithium-ion battery uses a liquid electrolyte. Liquid is great for moving ions around fast, but it's also flammable. It leaks if you puncture the cell, and it degrades over time. Ask Richard Hammond about his experience with the Rimac Concept 1, and you'll get what I'm talking about. Solid-state batteries remove the liquid entirely and replace it with a ceramic or polymer solid, which solves the safety issues but creates its own headaches with conductivity and manufacturing. Now, CATL went a different route. Their condensed electrolyte is a high-viscosity gel, somewhere between liquid and solid. Technically, it's often called a semi-solid or liquid-solid chemistry in the broader industry. What CATL engineered specifically is a biomimetic microscale adaptive mesh structure inside the gel that adjusts how polymer chains interact with each other. This results in something that doesn't flow or leak if the cell is punctured, but still lets lithium ions move through it with the efficiency of a liquid electrolyte. You get the safety profile of a solid-state battery without the conductivity penalty. That's the core innovation here. And they've added a composite current collector on top of that, which essentially acts as a self-fusing fuse during an internal short circuit. If something goes wrong, the current collector melts itself to interrupt the fault before it can cascade. Combined with an aerospace-grade titanium alloy casing that's 60% thinner and 30% lighter than conventional battery housing while being 3 times stronger per unit, this is a cell that's genuinely been designed from the ground up with safety and mass as co-equal priorities. Now, I want to be careful right here because battery specs can be overhyped easily. But these numbers are CATL's official figures released in April 2026, and they hold up under scrutiny. The Qilin Condensed Battery hits 350 watt-hours per kilogram gravimetric energy density and 760 watt-hours per liter volumetric energy density. CATL claims both as world records for any battery going into mass production. And that's not a lab prototype, not a one-off demo cell. Mass production is what they're aiming at. To put it in perspective, the best LFP packs in current EVs run around 180 to 200 watt-hours per kilogram. High-nickel lithium-ion packs, like those in a Tesla Model S, are around 250 to 270 watt-hours per kilogram at the cell level. Getting to 350 watt-hours per kilogram is a genuine leap. And it comes from a combination of 3 things working as a tightly integrated system. A stabilized high-nickel cathode that adds 50 watt-hours per kilogram versus standard cathodes, a low-expansion silicon-carbon anode, and the condensed electrolyte keeping the whole thing chemically stable. But what does this actually mean for a car? CATL says an executive-class sedan fitted with this battery pack, kept under 650 kilograms total pack weight, can do 1,500 kilometers of range on a full charge. That's about 900 miles. Now, sure, that's using China's CLTC test cycle, and they tend to be rather optimistic. Real-world range will obviously vary. But even if you discount that figure by a third for real-world conditions and mixed driving, you're still looking at something that comfortably exceeds 900 kilometers. That is a level of range that makes range anxiety completely irrelevant as a concept. For large SUVs, CATL quotes over 1,000 kilometers. Again, Conservative real-world math still puts you in territory that no current production EV touches, even if it is lower than that stated 1,000 kilometers. Now, here's the part of this story I find most interesting. This technology wasn't developed for cars first. It came out of CATL's electric aviation program. For aircraft, the energy density requirements are completely different from ground vehicles. Weight is everything there. And the safety requirements are obviously even more extreme since you can't exactly pull over if something goes wrong at 3,000 meters. CATL developed an aviation version of this condensed battery that reaches 500 watt-hours per kilogram, and it's already completed flight validation on a 4-ton eVTOL aircraft built by Autoflight, a company CATL has invested in. So when CATL says this battery is safe and that the condensed electrolyte behaves reliably under stress, they have actual flight data to back that up. This isn't a lab spec that's been stress-tested in a climate chamber. It's been in the air. The passenger car version at 350 watt-hours per kilogram is essentially a detuned, production-optimized version of that aviation cell adapted for automotive manufacturing lines. That lineage matters. It means the engineering fundamentals are proven in a more demanding environment than a road car will ever see. Mass production of the automotive version is beginning this year, in 2026, so no distant roadmap. We're already there. But the question remains, why can this scale when solid-state batteries can't? This is, in my opinion, the most underappreciated aspect of the whole story. The condensed electrolyte approach is compatible with existing lithium-ion production infrastructure. You don't need to build entirely new fabrication lines with ceramic deposition equipment and new manufacturing processes. CATL can adapt what they already have. That is a massive deal. The reason solid-state batteries keep getting delayed isn't just the material science. It's that you'd need to build out manufacturing capacity, essentially from scratch. The capital expenditure required is staggering, and you'd be doing this for a product that's never been proven at volume. The risk profile makes investors nervous, and it should. CATL's condensed approach sidesteps all of that. They're scaling a battery that is genuinely novel in performance terms, but not in manufacturing terms. Their existing gigafactory infrastructure can handle it with modifications rather than complete replacement. And that's why they can say mass production starts in 2026 and actually mean it. Now, before I wrap up, I want to briefly flag something else CATL announced alongside the condensed battery, because it tells a different but equally important story. The Naxtra is CATL's sodium-ion battery, and it's the world's first sodium-ion battery to pass China's new national